And we are live with the Week 10 review, Week 11 preview. We got Ryan with me again in here, joined by newcomers Philip and James. Say what's up.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Ryan may be in and out, he said, but he's going to try his best to be in here. But getting some new perspectives in here. We actually have half of the league right here in this call.
Incredible.
If Fleming was almost going to be here, so we almost were going to have 5 of the 8 people in this call, which would have been something. Wow. So basically, there's no point in making the video. We're all just half the people have already watched it, but we do it anyway. Jamar Chase with the big 50 bomb last week. Almost, if he didn't, I'd be dead. Surprisingly.
How many? Do you know how many?
If he scored only 21, I think I would have gotten eliminated. I would have scored 91 and lost to David.
That's pretty wild, actually.
Yeah. So my team was kind of ass outside of that. But anyway, we're in the Elite 8. You made it this far. Congratulations, everybody.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. That's so sad.
This is
Look at him. He looks so innocent. He looks so innocent.
He just looks so happy, wide-eyed. Yeah, David, he strung himself along for a long time.
Hey, top 10. Top 10. Nothing wrong with that.
First time in the league. He's one of the newcomers. He and Matt were new. Good work. I'd say good work from the two of them. I think he was making it work with who he had. I think if we look back at his team, he probably regrets the
Taylor Etienne trade.
The Jonathan Taylor Etienne trade. He traded away Jonathan Taylor when he ended up playing like the next week. But David was kind of desperate that week. But ultimately, he would have survived without Jonathan Taylor that week. So that was one of the big trades. Also, the big panic trade for Josh Allen. That was another one that he didn't need to do. He would have survived anyway. So, looking back, he probably would have changed a couple things. But he did a pretty good job. 9th place.
Great job.
Phil, look at you.
Hey, what are the odds?
Who would have thought?
What a turnaround.
Top 25%. You're getting your first star of the year. Average score of you and Huff of 135, which is down 4% from last week of 140. Pretty much the same, but some new faces on this slide. So good job.
Good job, Phil.
Proud of you.
Thank you. I learned from you guys. You guys taught me well.
And the bottom 25%. Love to see this. Actually, I wish Johnny was on 2 slides before, but unfortunately, he made it to this slide. Would have been crazy if he went out with all the fab, and then it'd be me and Ryan owning the market in fab. So it would have changed everything. But here he is, still alive. He spent a little bit now, but still has
eating in that picture. Is he eating a spine of a fish?
Pretty sure it's a fish spine.
My goodness.
I think that's a picture from back in high school. It's got to be
brutal. Yeah, it's a good looking picture. It's good
pretty hardcore.
Hardcore guy right here. Average of 98, which is up 5% from last week, 94. Like I said, not too much change in terms of like the scoring dispersion, as we'll see here. Jake got the ice cube. Yeah, generally not too different from the week before. A little narrower margin here in the middle. But Philip up there at the top. Good job.
Wow, thank you. Incredible. Oh, look at that.
Oh, I bet you're excited for tonight. Philip is a Commanders fan, I believe, as well as... Okay, there goes Ryan. He'll be back, though. I know there's multiple others. Fleming, Potter. I know there's...
I'm a
Johnny.
Commanders fan.
You're a Commanders fan?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Congratulations, you guys. You guys are killing it this year. I say Kami's legit with a question mark, but I think you guys are legit.
Question mark? Why is there a question mark?
Apparently not. Well, some people may be doubting it, but I'm not doubting it. You're not favored to beat the Eagles, even though you have a better record than them. So that's interesting. It is at Philly, I guess. But tonight, we got Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson. Probably not Eckler if Robinson's playing. McLaurin, and then Hurts, Barkley, A.J. Brown. And I'm probably not starting Devonta Smith.
Ooh, Devonta Smith.
Flex.
No, Eckler will get a little work with Robinson and still, I think.
Sure, but it's a riskier play this late in the season with 8. It's an 8-team league at this point, so.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
so we'll see. I think it might be Huff who has him on his bench. Who do you guys have tonight? I know Johnny's got Jaden Daniels. Where's McLaurin at?
I got nobody.
I have
in
nobody
either of these games.
Ooh, not Hurts. Jake has Hurts and AJ Brown, and Jake's not a particularly safe team. Oh, I have Barkley. What am I talking about? So we'll see. Jake could either be in a really good spot or a really bad spot after this game if Hurts and AJ Brown don't put up big numbers, because those have kind of been his highest scorers every week. Over under 48.5. So should be a high scoring game.
I
Neither
agree.
of these defenses are like super elite, so I could see some high scoring.
Middle of the road, yeah.
Middle of the road, but high powered offenses. So
That's true. That's true.
The Thursday night football games have really taken a step up from like last year. I feel like I remember last year every Thursday night matchup was just an absolute horrible disaster.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But good one this week. And then the Monday night, this is going to be kind of a dumpster
Whoa.
fire. I don't even know why Dak was in this picture, because I was struggling to find a graphic, but he's not playing. Cowboys are buns, but Nico Collins is probably back. Good news for Philip.
Hey-o.
Very
That's great
good
news
for Philip.
Best news I've heard all week.
Yeah. And let's see who the big stories that could happen on this game. Philip with Nico Collins, Johnny has Mixon, James, you're gonna have CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
And Ryan has Tank Dell. Someone has Texans defense. I'm benching. No, yeah, I Dowdle on my bench, I'm pretty sure. And then Jake has Ferguson. Oh, that's funny. His name is Jake Ferguson. Jake in our league has Jake Ferguson. I don't think Jake Ferguson's a great start anymore with Dak out. I already think CeeDee Lamb. You can't bench CeeDee Lamb, but there's obviously a hit that has been taken into CeeDee Lamb's production without Dak.
Not feeling too hot about that.
Yeah. That is,
and the sun. I mean, the sun's really getting as a problem for CeeDee these days too.
The sun, yeah. The Cowboys stadium absolutely.
Yeah.
Screwing him over in the end zone there.
Yeah. So, CeeDee's going through a little bit these days, I guess.
Yeah, but we will see. Texans just came off their game against the Lions, where they picked them off 6 times. So they're favored by 7.5, over under 42. I think this will be kind of a boring game, but might have implications on who gets eliminated. So that'll be fun. Hopefully not me. I don't have anyone. Okay, week 10 standings. Wait, did I forget to chop? Oh, I did forget. I forgot to put David's head here. It's too bad. But anyway, I surpassed Johnny finally for the league lead in scoring. Feels good. Wow. Johnny's been on a slide, like a 3-week slide. James, you're moving up the ranks. You're in third. I think you were in third last week too, or maybe you just tough. Oh no, Huff outscored you this week. So yeah, you were still in third last week. So good spot. Philip sneakily, after coming off of, I feel like you've been in trouble for multiple weeks, and
we've been struggling for a number of weeks. Yeah, auto draft was I did do that.
Auto draft to a weekly struggle to find running backs. I mean, you did once you got Bijan in there. Well, once you got Bijan, I remember for 3 weeks straight he wouldn't score. He would just put up a high.
Yeah, he wasn't doing much. Oh, and I was still struggling. That's why I picked up Tracy, who's actually turned out to be
Aaron Jones,
quite the asset.
He has been. Now he's on bye, but you have Aaron Jones, who's also pretty solid.
I do have AJ. Yes, he
very serviceable guys.
He is a serviceable fellow, that AJ.
But to look at it in terms of, Ryan and Fleming, they pull their starters, so that's why they're down here. So Jake is really our lowest true scorer. He has not been super active in the league this year, but he's made it through, and he's been pretty safe. He has not been on the block going into Sunday night, Monday night for the past 4 weeks, and that kind of blows my mind because for a while his team was just kind of meh, but now it's he's actually very average team right now. He's not really a super big risk on paper. But David gets eliminated with averaging 96 points a week at 960. Almost hit the 1,000 mark, but not quite. Sad. Everyone here should hit the 1,000 mark, so congratulations. Everyone's alive. But, funny enough, he ended with less points than Mark, even though Mark got eliminated last week. So this happened last year with Mark, where he was super high scoring and then got eliminated. So he ended the year with a high, average points per week, but got chopped, and then he had more points than even the person that got eliminated after him. All right, the economy. Not a lot was spent this week. I think one. I want to say that in circulation it was 125 last week. Now we're down to 110, and 4 of that came from David getting eliminated. So only $11 spent this week. A lot was swapped around with trades, but for waiver claims, only $11 spent. And Johnny still leads it with $41. Me and Ryan are now above the average line, the average being $14. I have 17. Ryan has 19. And I mean, everyone has fab except for Philip. Phil, you haven't really done any trades to get fab.
0. No,
You've been riding
I'm liking where I'm at. I'm riding my guys, picking guys up off the waiver as they pop up, and we're doing our thing.
I mean, if every week you put in like 20 $0 claims, you're gonna get one of them, especially
Exactly. I'm just hoping I can ride it out long enough where there's enough good players left and I can get them for nothing.
And you did last week. I was gonna say it on your slide, but I'll say it now. You got what's his name? Pickens and Chuba Hubbard for $0 apps, and those were 2 of your top 4 scorers.
Yeah, I don't know how they went for 0, frankly. And I got Johnny. I'll accept or decline this trade before the video's out. So, but you guys give me advice real quick. Johnny offered me Neighbors for Pickens straight up.
Oh shoot! So, I'm in another league with Johnny, and he just like overpaid like crazy for Pickens. So I think Johnny is like all in on Pickens. He does this like in the beginning. Like I'm in multiple leagues with Johnny. He has Malik Neighbors in all of them. He has Brian Thomas in all of them. He's just super high on like his guys. And right now Pickens is his guy. He really wants Pickens. So I don't know, Phil. It's actually kind of a toss up. I mean Pickens. I mean Neighbors is on bye. So
yeah, Neighbors is on bye. So I'd have to
this week. I would consider it next week now that they're both past their bye. It's kind of a toss up on which one of the two you think is going to be better, but I think Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is buns, but Russell Wilson was bad. I'll think about it.
It's actually a pretty fair trade, but given the bye week right now, I don't know. It seems risky in this late season.
Seems risky. I agree. Seems risky. I got a good call.
Okay.
No, I think I've just received. I think I've just maybe received a trade offer from Johnny as we speak.
Oh boy!
Oh my goodness! Maybe he's listening.
Spill the beans.
Where is it? Darnell Mooney for Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley's been going crazy, and we thought last week with Will Levis back, we thought Calvin Ridley was like out. Like, yeah, he's gonna go back to being trash.
He's gonna give you Mooney for Ridley?
Yeah, I don't think Mooney's really been doing anything.
I just traded Johnny straight up Mooney for Devonta Smith.
I was gonna say he just got Mooney.
I like Mooney. Like, don't get me wrong, Mooney's a good piece that was gonna like get you guaranteed like high single digits with like he also has a pretty high ceiling if he pops off like he did on that one Thursday night game.
Yeah, but he says Mooney's he's limited with an Achilles injury. He was limited today practice.
Oh. I'm not worried about that. I wouldn't think unless I have no idea. Maybe he is hurt, but I don't know. That's a tough call because Calvin Ridley is boom bust, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas Darnell Mooney seems to be much more consistent, but either way, both those guys are probably close to being benchable in a couple weeks. Here.
Yeah.
Oof. So you think Mooney's a top 10 wide receiver this year?
He is, but like we'll see. That's why it's hard to say. It just doesn't feel like a guy that should be started in 2 or 3 weeks. He also has a bye coming up in 2 weeks, so like after his bye, I feel like
definitely don't start him then. Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't hate him. I'd still be starting him now if I had him, but I don't know how long I'd be starting him. That's what I'm saying. Good player, though. Good player. All right. Actually, nothing changed to the Grim Reaper slide. No one. It's because David had a bunch of trash cans on his team. No offense. So no one that had previously been rostered by someone else that David went and got was a multi-elimination player. So still just these guys. The only thing that changed is now, I believe, Phil, you still have Rashad White. Oh, Fleming has McConkey now.
Fleming's got a lot of these guys.
He does. David had McConkey, but had him benched. This is now 2 times that McConkey's been on the losing team's bench. And he's also been on the losing team's starting lineup twice for Matt and Potter. I think he was on JC's bench and then David's bench, something like that. So McConkey seems to be following around the eliminated team, whether or not he's on the starting lineup or not.
Bad luck. He seems like bad luck.
Bad luck McConkey over here. All these are still the same. Marvin Harrison, Fleming, yeah, all the same. Not much to say here. We'll keep updating this as it goes on. All right, my Week 10 reaction. It was kind of crazy. The trading block reopens as teams push for the Final Four. Because as we know, or as we mentioned it in the last video, but if you missed it, the 3rd and 4th place starting rosters get locked and don't get dropped to waivers. The benches do. So essentially the 2 championship teams will have a smaller pool of players to pull from, which makes you have to be a little more strategic on when you spend your money and like when you get those end of season starters locked in, because once there's 4 teams left, there are still going to be people on waivers, but not like the best of the best starters getting dropped from the eliminated teams. So
like for the final 2 teams, so like whoever play, I'm just trying to understand that.
So let's say Phil, let's say Phil, you make it into the Final Four. I think it's week 14 is the first week of the Final Four. Let's say you get eliminated, Phil. Your bench gets dropped to waivers like normal, but your starting lineup stays on your team. And it's locked away forever from teams being able to do anything with them. So that actually, it'll be 18 players, because right, nine starters. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think. Yes, 9 starters. So it just limits the pool slightly. Some of the big starters will be locked away. So you kind of got to lock in those like really good starters in these next couple weeks here. And there's also still lots of bye weeks to take into account, including 6 next week, 4 this week, 6 next week, and then also 6 during the first week of the Final Four, week 14, which will be a really big deal, because if you have multiple of those guys going into that Final Four, that's going to be a bad spot. But also, on the topic of only the bench getting dropped, if you have the week 14 studs, so to speak, will be on benches, so they will get dropped to waivers if one of them, a team with a week 14 bye player, gets eliminated, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So things to consider. And with Johnny trading some of his fab around, the market has really opened back up, as we saw this week. So cool stuff. Right now we got Bucks, Cardinals, Panthers, Giants on bye. Next week it'll be Bills, Bengals, Falcons, Jags, Saints, Jets. One of our first, I think it's our second week that has 6 teams on bye. Big week. A lot can happen that week if you got people on bye. Okay, into our normal graphs.
Wow, James is really down there in the corner.
James, what's going on here, man?
Why are they hating on you?
The analytics is not liking you.
Huh.
Why is David on here? Wait, what? Wait a second. Hold on. Pause. I know what something. I definitely pasted in the new graphs. These are new. But why is David on there? Because I delete him from the thing, so he shouldn't even populate on it. Why? Wait a second. Pause. Okay, these are not the graphs. Ignore. This was last week, and hold on. I have the new ones. Let me. I pasted. I'm 100% positive I pasted them in here, and now they're just not there. So we're gonna do this on the fly. We're still recording.
It's in your Fortnite folder there.
What folder? Wait, what?
You got a Fortnite folder on your Google Drive.
I probably do. Oh, that's where I put the clips to send in the chat. You know.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Position, strength, budget. Okay. I couldn't not have these be correct. Okay. You guys can see. You guys can still see this?
I see
your Google Drive.
Oh. Wait, what? Okay. Oh, yeah, you are on my Google Drive. Why is it showing that? Okay, stop.
That's why I was asking about your Fortnite folder.
Oh. That's why I was like, what are you talking about? Okay, you see this now?
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
So James still not in a great spot, but not in the worst spot either. Jake is not looking great this week on either platform. Philip as well. Fleming's more close to the middle on both. Huff and Ryan. So Ryan is really low on Fantasy Pros, but Sleeper says he's fine. Huff, kind of similar spot, and then me and Johnny are in theory looking pretty good on both. Yeah. And now next week versus rest of season, essentially everyone who looks bad this week also looks bad rest of season. It is kind of skewed pretty far up to me and Johnny, so really Fleming and Huff are more like middle of the pack. Philip, you too. Ryan, Fantasy Pros does not like Ryan's team because the weekly and rest of season are both from Fantasy Pros. James doesn't love your this week, but says you're a little better rest of season. I think the Dak injury really hurts you with CD because he was like one of your guys.
Yeah.
But you got Jonathan Taylor from me, so now your running backs are pretty. I mean, Derrick Henry is going to be great always the rest of season. So I wonder where they're. You have McBride on bye this week. Maybe it's the Jordan Love. Maybe the analytics isn't loving Jordan Love long term, but I think quarterbacks are pretty replaceable late in the season.
Well, Olave is hurt for the next couple weeks.
Oh, right.
Which is pretty big blow. So
that is a big blow.
Yeah.
And Philip, I think your projection went up a little bit with the return of Collins, and you added in Pickens. You got Jacoby Myers this week. You have multiple guys on bye, Tracy, Hubbard, White, but I think you've got a very serviceable lineup here.
Thank you. I should be dead. I shouldn't have made it this far, but
no, not so fast. It's the way of the game here. And then finally, position strength budget. Johnny still leading the way on budget and position strength. Ryan and I both above the average line for budget. Ryan's team looking a little weaker though. Huff in a pretty solid spot here. He's fourth most in fab, just a little below the average line, but his team's looking pretty strong. Fleming, after doing some trades this week, got some more fab to work with, so I think he's in a pretty good spot too. It's the James, Jake, Phillip that have the least amount of fab and the weakest players on paper. So, but anything can happen. It's 8 teams. I mean, I guess it's easier for a really good team to get eliminated too, because all it takes is a couple of their studs. Like last week for me, if I didn't have Jamar, I'd be effed. So anything can happen. And in summary, I actually didn't move. What's crazy actually? Everyone's numbers didn't change. Wait, is that because I was calculating them off the wrong graphs? Wait, I should be 1, 2. Oh boy. Yeah, I have the numbers wrong, because I should be 3, because I was in green in all 3 of them. Johnny should be 3. No wonder. I was going to say, I did all the math, and they all added up to the same numbers. And I just thought, oh, wow, that's crazy. Just because I was calculating off of last week's graphs. All right, well, I still think the numbers are going to be wrong, but I think where I have teams still kind of makes sense. James, I think you're looking iffy in the short term, because if CD can't figure it out with Cooper Rush or Trey Lance or whoever they're using, that's going to be no good, and Olave being hurt is no good. Higgins is not a lock to play either. I think he should, though. He's definitely trending towards playing. But if you have him out for another week, that's tough, and then you have McBride on bye this week. So I think if you can get past all that, you can be fine.
Well, no, I'm feeling a little iffy.
You think what?
I'm feeling a little iffy.
Long term as well?
Yeah, short term and long term.
So you think you should be
feeling a little iffy? I think so.
I guess technically you're red. Philip is red. Jake is red. Okay, so really it should be Jake, Philip, and James all down here. But I have Jake up here. I think Jake's pretty okay too. I mean, I think Jake and Philip are kind of similar. They have some good players that seem to score every single week for them. For Jake, it's been Jalen Hurts. For Phil, it's been Lamar and Bijan. But entire strength of team maybe isn't that good, but you can get by with it. Fleming got a lot stronger this week with the addition of Josh Allen and did some trade. He traded away Mike Evans to get some fab. So I think Fleming made good moves this week. Ryan, I don't love Ryan's moves. I mean, hopefully he comes back later in this and I can roast him on his slide. I don't love all the moves he made, but I think it was good that he got rid of Pacheco because that was kind of dead weight. He is maybe coming back this week, though, so we'll see. But I have a hard time believing Kareem Hunt just vanishes from the Chiefs' backfield. And Huff is pretty good as well. He's very, yellow, red, yellow. Like he's pretty average. He's seems to be in a pretty good spot this week. I think I covered everyone, but yeah, I really have no excuses because we're recording this later than I've ever recorded this, and I still messed up, and that was a pretty big mess up right there, messing up all the graphs. But it is what it is.
That's okay, Eric.
What time?
I think you're doing great.
Oh, thank you. 25 minutes in, we're actually making pretty good time, as long as we don't sit too long on the team slides. But Phil, our leader of last week, I'll hit you up first. You have 2 trash cans, now a star. I have not had to change this Lamar being the top here and Lamar GIF for like 3 weeks straight, so that's been very nice. Thank you for making my life easy.
I'm glad.
I want to say it's actually been Lamar Bijan for 3 weeks straight as your top.
Bijan Freeze. Bijan has really turned it around.
He has. He was. You spent all that like 75 on him early on, which everyone was like baffled by. Which I mean, it still was a lot of fab, but I think it was necessary, and now it's
worked out.
Paying off.
Yes, and I am very happy that I waited out Collins coming back because I thought about trying to trade him for some fab, and I was like, no, I'm gonna wait him out, see what happens. We survived 5 weeks without him. Now we're back. Back in the game.
See, that's what you really need to do is when you're in those tough spots. If it feels safer to like trade away like either like your injured guy or your guy on bye or whatever to get fab or a startable player back. But as we saw from like David, that's not always the way to go because it can kill your long-term viability. So powered through it, struggled through it, made it out the other side. Now you have Nico Collins back and you're in an even better spot. You were the highest scorer last week without Nico Collins, so now you got it.
That's true. Well, thank you. Lamar's been good.
Been fantastic.
He's been very good.
They have the Steelers this week, though, and I have that as your tough matchup of the week.
No, I'm not worried about it. I think he's matchup proof. I think Lamar is. I don't think it matters who he's playing. He's gonna run circles around everyone, and I think Bijan finally he was like scoring like 9 points, like 10 points, and now he's been at least 20 points for the last 5 weeks, which has been very helpful. Hopefully, he's bye week coming up, so hopefully.
What next week?
Yeah. So don't want to jinx it, but if we make it there, hopefully some other guys can step up.
Yeah, you'll have Chuba coming back off bye, but Jonathan Brooks should be coming back. So we'll see what that does. I think Chuba, they gave him the contract. He's clearly their guy, but still something to monitor.
Boy,
I like the Hunter Henry play, although the analytics doesn't like it. I respect it.
Well, he's questionable this week, so
don't really have any other options unless you go to waivers.
Yeah, that's true. Waiver. Yeah.
But
there's some options out there.
Mark
Andrews is on waiver. Andrews is on waiver.
Dropped him to the curb right after he.
That's crazy. I may just pick him up. What's he doing on waivers?
I don't know. You'd have the Lamar Mark Andrews stack.
Yeah.
Live and die by the Ravens this week.
Okay, I'm picking him up.
All right, you heard it here first. Philip is going Mark Andrews over Hunter Henry. But you got Jacoby Myers as well for free, which he's been like a solid like 14, 15 point scorer every week as their wide receiver 1. So some good stuff. Lions defense, low-key sleeping on them. They've been good.
Yeah, they're great playing Jacksonville this week. Hopefully it's a big week.
And Huff here still doesn't have a quarterback. He has Kyler on bye and has not even picked up a quarterback. So for his like weekly projection on Sleeper, I just added whatever the highest on waivers, which is like 16 points projected, just added that to his projection because assuming he will just go with one of those guys. I mean, there's Russell Wilson against Baltimore, there's C.J. Stroud against Dallas, Sam Darnold against Tennessee, Jared Goff if you want to go that route. Bo Nix, I wouldn't hate the Bo Nix play. If that was in his spot, I would legitimately consider it.
Yeah.
He gets the rushing yards, that really pads the stats, and they're playing Atlanta this week, so good matchup. But other than that, the rest of his team is pretty solid. Tyreek Hill finally got in the end zone last week. But I see a lot of these guys, and his team is boom bust, namely Tyreek Hill. He seems to really just be bust or average. He hasn't even boomed any week recently. And Devontae Adams is boom bust with the Jets. DK coming back from injury. He still is kind of a boom bust player. Drake London also could be boom bust, especially at Denver. which I have as his tough matchup of the week. So I think his most consistent pieces are the running backs and Kittle, who he just added this week for $2. It's pretty solid. Added Pollard as well for 0 and the Packers D. Still has $11 to work with. So he's in a pretty good spot. Now my team, Ryan said it in the chat and kind of hilarious. The Mac Daddy Mac Hollins made it to my top 3 scorers because that's how bad my team was. That 11 points was enough to be a top 3 scorer. Jamar and Purdy doing all the work. I did not spend anything this week. I got Brian Thomas and the Dolphins defense for 0. Got a lot of green. I like seeing the green. I mean, I should be in a good spot unless I have a repeat of last week, which I have a really hard time believing that all those studs will have 2 bad weeks in a row. We should see a lot of... We're not going to see 50 points from Jamar again, especially with T coming back and against the Chargers, but should still be good. I got Mr. K. Dotton, my guy, on bye, but Hawkinson should be fine. And then my decision for tonight is whether or not I start Devonta Smith or Cortland Sutton, and I kind of like Sutton. Like I was just saying with Bo Nix in the matchup, I think that the Broncos have a good matchup. Not that the Commanders are a bad matchup. I don't know. I have a bad taste in my mouth after he put up 2 points last week. And Sutton has been on a heater. But James, I did that trade with you last week to get 17 fab for Jonathan Taylor, and then I did the straight up swap with Johnny, Devonta Smith for Mooney. So brought me back in the game, the fab market game. So I look forward to using that in the future. Johnny's very mad. Johnny's very mad that you gave me fab. Johnny was refusing to trade me fab as much as I tried to give him a player for it. So thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know how I feel about it, but
I mean,
we can talk about
it got you through it. It got you through the week.
Yeah, I was feeling very concerned about my team before last week.
Rightfully so. I was concerned about your team last week.
And I don't know, like I feel better about it now that they are starting Anthony Richardson again. Because he's had like 1 game with over 10 completions this season, so I can't imagine they're gonna like lean a whole lot on his passing.
Good point.
But he also has a bye coming up still, so
yeah, that was part of the reason I was definitely okay trading him away. Was the bye, but
yeah,
I just wanted fab. I hated not having fab for the 1 week that I didn't have fab. But that kind of leads into Ryan's team because Ryan's got Downs, and I know Ryan is very upset by this Anthony Richardson decision to start him again because, I mean, Josh Downs seems to be the one receiver that is good regardless of who plays a quarterback, but I still wouldn't be feeling great, especially in a Guillotine league, starting Josh Downs, and I would know because I have Josh Downs in my other Guillotine league, and I don't know what to do about it. I think I have other guys I'd rather start and feel safer starting, so I'm probably going to do it, but yeah, Mark Andrews, right after being one of his top scorers for multiple weeks, Ryan drops him. Phil now got him because Ryan got Kelsey this week, and that's kind of what we need to jump into is all the trades Ryan did. So ultimately, the sum of the 3 or 4 trades he did, I think 3, he gets Kelsey, gets an injured Mike Evans, and gets 16 fab, trades away Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, Debo, and Pacheco. I believe, James, he traded you, D-Hop, for like 4. He traded Johnny Kupp for like 18 or something like that. And then he got Pacheco from Fleming. No, he traded Pacheco to Fleming and got Evans and Kelsey from Fleming and also traded Debo to Fleming. And there was some fab exchange there as well where I think Ryan gave up fab to get Kelsey and trade away Pacheco. Anyway, he's got 19 fab now. So I think Ryan overall he gained more fab, which gives him like a better long-term projection if he can survive. But I also don't think he killed his team's strength because he adds in Kelsey. Evans is not playing this week on bye. Maybe we'll be back after the bye is the word, I think. But loses multiple starters in Kupp, D-Hop, and Debo, who I could definitely see being started here over Josh Downs and Tank Dell, who analytics have as the worst wide receiver 1 and 2 in the league starting this week. So not a great place to be for Ryan, but Burrow, Kyron, Brees has been kind of not doing great recently, I would say also. So Ryan's a little bit on the hot seat, I would say. and Kareem Hunt, there's still a chance Pacheco plays this week, so we'll see what that means. But don't worry, you can get a guaranteed 12 points from Montgomery. Downs at Jets, I have as a tough matchup. Even though normally I'd pull like one of the studs for a tough matchup, but none of his. You could say Burrow at the Chargers. The Chargers actually have a good defense, so could say that as well. But Burrow's, I feel like, is on a heater right now, and will be kind of like Lamar and be a little bit matchup proof, hopefully. All right, Fleming's team, the other side of a lot of these trades with Ryan. So we already touched on all these. The only other trade Fleming did outside of with Ryan is with Amon-Ra with Johnny. He traded away Amon-Ra to get a bunch of fab from Johnny. So I say good move. Take the fab away from Johnny. I love it. He also picks up Josh Allen off waivers for $5. So I'd say a pretty good use of that money, and also reunites him with the quarterback he drafted. So ultimately, I'd say his team is looking pretty solid this week. He goes from Kelsey to Njoku because he traded Kelsey away. In theory, that should be all right. And then I'd say he's got some serviceable running backs. Oh, we also got James Cook. I don't know if I included that. Clearly, I didn't write that down. But he got James Cook in a trade from Johnny, I believe. So his lineup looks very different than it did last week. But I think it's better than it was last week. And he gained fab. So I'd say Fleming made some really good moves this week. But I have his tough matchup as James Cook versus Kansas City. Alrighty, James, we've made it to your team. Calvin Ridley really came in clutch last week with that like 24 point. I didn't like starting him because of the Will Levis thing. Will Levis being back, and it seemed like they couldn't connect.
Yeah, it felt risky.
What?
It felt risky, but I just had to go with my Nashville boys.
Oh yeah, you got to. But he came in he might have been dead without him, to be honest. If he started someone else, he scored single-digit points. So huge week. You acquire Ingram and the Rams defense, both going to be started this week. And then, as we mentioned already in the trades, you got Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Hopkins for a total of 21 fab. Now you have 6. So improvements, but still in a tough spot this week with matchups and injuries and CeeDee Lamb having a dumpster fire at quarterback. So we'll see. So you've got the analytics has Mahomes, but I don't think you're starting Mahomes. I think you're going with Love, aren't you?
No. Yeah.
Mahomes against Buffalo, always a classic. Chiefs, Bills. So I don't know if that's
maybe with it being Bills, he'll sort of get himself together. He doesn't really seem to be doing anything this season except for winning.
That's really all he does, or all they are doing as a team. He, at one point, if we look back before 2 weeks ago when he threw 3 touchdowns and 0 picks, before that he had 6 touchdowns and 8 picks on the season. So really terrible from a fantasy perspective, really from any perspective. But they were 6-0 at the time, so you can't really argue with it. Or 7-0.
Yeah, it's confusing.
But these last 2 weeks, he finally broke 20 points 2 weeks ago against Tampa Bay, and then putting up 16.5 against Denver is a pretty good number against a good defense. So, and yeah, if we see a classic Chiefs Bills shootout, then maybe he is the play. But we also know what Jordan Love can do as well. So tough call. That could be this could be a season defining decision here if you are in a tough spot and one does exceptionally better than the other. So don't think too hard about it. No pressure.
No, I'm not too worried about it. I'll do the right thing.
A lot of yellow bars, I'll say. And only 6, 7, and 8 are yellow. 1 through 5 would be green. So I like the Rams defense this week. They got New England, so whatever. I guess just compared to the other defenses. And Derrick Henry will give you your guaranteed touchdown every week.
Yeah.
All right, Jake's team. Once another slide, just like Phillips, where I have not had to change the GIF or the top scoring player in a long time. Hurts has been getting it done with the tush push is alive and well right now. AJ Brown's been good as well. Bill's defense was good. He's still rolling with them against the Chiefs. I don't think that's a good start. Actually, maybe it is.
He's rolling with the Buffalo. Yeah, Mahomes. Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, ballsy, but you respect it.
I think outside of the context of the season, I would say that's a terrible decision. But actually, with the context of the season, I think it actually could be fine because Mahomes is been throwing picks. So
he's been throwing some, yeah.
So the Bills' defense could be fine, but I could totally see a shootout too, like normal. But I think Jake has a lot of risky plays this week with some iffy matchups. I mean, we've seen Garrett Wilson can be very hit or miss. Was very much a miss last week. But Gibbs at Jacksonville should be great. And DeAndre Swift seems to be off of his hot streak a little bit, where he was scoring like 20 a week for 4 weeks straight. And then what I don't love is, and the analytics doesn't have it, but he has Javonte Williams in over Alexander Madison at his flex. And I heard the news about the Audric Estime guy who's like starting to get a lot more carries, so I think that's bad news for Javonte Williams. And Zay Flowers at Pittsburgh could be a tough matchup. And I have Ferguson versus Houston as his bad matchup, really just his bad start of the week. Apparently Houston is good against tight ends, but Ferguson is also dealing with the trash can of quarterback, so not a great look. Didn't spend again, still has 7 fab. So 7 fab is becoming more and more useful at this point if he keeps surviving, but it's a big if, I think, at this point. And Johnny, last of the survivors. Joe Mixon's been really solid for him. Christian McCaffrey back last week. Jaden Daniels. I did correctly predict the bad matchup for Jaden Daniels. I said that was his tough matchup of the weekend. He only put up like 9 points. He did okay. He just didn't throw a touchdown or run a touchdown or anything. So Johnny's team looks pretty solid this week. He gets Kupp, gets Amon-Ra, gets Mooney, all guys that he has starting. I think does not show Mooney on this graphic, but I think he actually does have Mooney starting. He does have Mooney starting instead of Jaden Reed. That's kind of a toss-up. He also has Brian Robinson on his bench. Another guy that could be started tonight. But Chargers defense against the Bengals, I think the Bengals are in like a must-win time, and Burrow's hot, so I don't love it, even though the Chargers D has been good. I think that could be a really bad matchup. The other one I might say is Mooney at Denver, but I wouldn't say either of those are his expected highest scores anyway. But his top guys have good matchups. But Johnny could be in a tough spot actually after tonight if Jaden Daniels does not get it done. But I kind of hope he does, just because I don't like the Eagles. We like the Commanders, not the Eagles.
Marge. Great point.
But yeah, he spent a bit of fab this week. Still has the most by a large margin. But as we've seen, as this shows us, no one's ever safe. So
that's true. You could go anytime. Ooh, scraped by for a while. Couldn't quite pull it out this week. Oh yeah,
he just couldn't. I thought he would. Well, actually, Ryan, if he was here, he'd be taking his victory lap that he just predicted the eliminations 2 weeks in a row. Last week with Mark and this week with David. So. I thought he legitimately. I know it's like not a hot take to say David because his team was like at the bottom of the analytics every week, but I actually thought he would scrape by again, but he didn't. Josh Allen tried his best. Oh, Ryan's here.
Oh, there he is. Now he can.
Ryan, you can take your victory lap.
You can gloat.
What do I get a lot for?
Your correct predictions of eliminations.
Yeah, 2 for 2. You're two of my last two.
Two for your last two.
Yeah. What else did I need a victory lap for, Eric? I think I texted you that CeeDee Lamb. That's right. I wanted a victory lap for CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, for saying that it's the quarterback problem, not his injury problem?
Yeah. I think I've taken a couple of victory laps this week.
Yeah.
But yeah. But thank you. I'll take another one.
I'll give you what you can before you get eliminated this week.
Oh.
Okay. Not a believer in Anthony Richardson and Tank Dell, I see.
Not at all. Not at all, frankly. But you came in at a good time because we're on the last team slide, so we're basically just finishing up with it and then giving our predictions. So,
ironically, I have to go back to work in 5 minutes, but I wanted to pop back in before I.
We'll get your prediction then before.
Yeah,
there's not much to say about David. 4 fab to the void. Didn't make it this week. He kept scraping by, couldn't keep it going. The power rankings, everyone moved this week. I shifted it up big time. I flipped me and Johnny at the top. I think I like my team as is so much more than Johnny's that I don't think his fab makes up for it. And we're getting to the point in the season where he's going to run out of time to spend it. So we'll see. Huff, I had bump up one. I think Huff, of this like next middle of the pack teams, I think Huff is slightly above, and he also has 11 fab, which is enough to work with. And Fleming, I had him move up a lot this weekend. Like I said, I liked all the moves he made. He gained fab, and I think his team got better with Josh Allen and a bunch of other guys he added into the mix. So I'm putting him at 4. James, I have you bumped down from 3 to 5. I liked your team for a long time, but now with all these, the Olave injury, the CeeDee Lamb situation, and I guess that was it. And with what's his face on bye this week, McBride, I think you're in a tough spot, so bumped you down a few. Phil, I had you come up a little bit. I think you're closer to the middle of the pack than you were before, especially with Nico Collins back. And Ryan, I have you fallen down to 7. I don't love your team right now, but you do have fab.
Well, 2 things. First of all, I have a question. Did you have my tough matchup as Josh Downs against the Jets?
Yes.
Okay, the Jets' defense has been a freaking revolving door of teams just absolutely tearing them apart.
Okay, but if I look across your entire team, the only other one that would make sense at all is Burrow at Chargers.
Yeah, and I thought if you were unbiased, that's what you should do. But yeah, no, I'm nervous.
It's the Anthony Richardson thing. That's what
that's yes, correct. And I'm upset about that, but I'm not 100% sweating yet because I've watched. I mean, the Jets. Obviously, I don't watch the whole game, but I watch Red Zone. They were on Red Zone all day on Sunday because the Cardinals were in the Red Zone for the entire game. Yeah. So anyway, that gives me some hope.
I heard real quick on the Anthony Richardson topic. I heard kind of a theory that it's not random. Like some people, the fans, Colts fans, whoever might think it's kind of random how they're deciding like when Flacco plays, when Anthony Richardson plays. But in theory, they just saved Anthony Richardson from having to play the Bills and the Vikings. And now what they just saw what the Cardinals just did to the Jets, I think they're thinking this is a good time to put Richardson in because it's a matchup that he could work with. So in theory,
I don't know if I buy that, but I can buy that it's a theory. But I don't know. I think Flacco is just underwhelming. Yeah, like he very clearly didn't play as well the last couple games as he did when they were when he was back up. But anyway, I think but I don't hate moving down. I think my moves like Evans, right? Like he's not playing this week, but
long term.
I think when he comes back, we've talked about this. They have like one of the easiest schedules in the NFL in the last 5 games, and
he should command all the targets. Besides,
nobody else is going to catch any balls. So I'm excited about that, and I think aside from Downs, my whole freaking roster is like bright green. So anyway, I know that doesn't factor into your rankings, but if you've been chatting on my team for the last 30 minutes, I feel like I have to defend myself.
I haven't been completely, but yeah, here's your team. Yellows are really bad at this point, but
I knew those yellows would be there. So
Pacheco could play this week too.
I don't think as somebody who owned Pacheco and checked his status daily for the last
probably
3 months,
maybe next week.
Yeah, and that's why I figured. The wide receivers were weaker, so I would rather Hunt hasn't scored less than 13 and as long as he's been the starter. So he's a safe play. He'll be good for a week and hopefully can keep me alive for one more. Yeah. Got out Monty finally getting green. It took long enough.
As a flex 2, I think normally he was your flex 1.
Yeah.
Which changes things, but
yeah.
All right, Ryan, before you go, do you have your prediction this week? And James and Phil.
Yeah, it's tough. I am between Jake and James. I like James's team. He just has a ton of brutal matchups. But Jake seems to be back in TVR mode, not checking. I think I'm gonna go with Jake. Just poor management. He needs. I mean, he's
It's
been
got to catch
getting.
up to him eventually, right? The poor management.
He's been getting like 30 plus from Jalen Hurts every week, and granted,
single week.
And granted, I think that will probably continue to some extent. I think tonight will be a shootout, but I also don't think he's going to get 25 from his defense this week. Assuming he doesn't check that. So
a defense has been one of his top 3 scorers. Jalen Hurts has been his top scorer for 3 to 4 weeks straight, scoring like 30 plus, and then a defense has been one of his top 3 scorers as well, almost every week the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and I think he's got the Bills playing the Chiefs, who obviously they're not the Chiefs of old, but there's better options out there, and if he's not checking, who knows, right? So yeah, I'll go Jake as my prediction.
Love it. James, Phil, either you want to go?
I think it will be me.
You're predicting yourself.
No, I think I'll be okay. Last week I would have predicted myself, and the week before that, and the one before that. But now I feel a little better with Collins back. I'll go Jake. I like Jake. Or maybe Ryan.
Pick one.
Could be anyone. I'll go with Johnny.
Oh, I wanted to do it.
I'm going with Johnny.
Spoiler, I did
not.
He barely made it last week.
More panic moves.
Yeah, he's panicking.
Seen panic moves.
Ryan, he offered me well, never mind. I declined it, so
no, tell Ryan what he offered you.
He offered me Neighbors for Pickens straight up, but Neighbors is on bye, so I declined it because I don't want to risk.
Oh, dude, I think Pickens. I'll give you your flowers. Pickens for what?
$0.
No, you didn't pay anything for him.
$0.
That's huge.
Chuba, $0.
I think their schedule is pretty light coming up, and with Russell, he's been getting a ton of love. So I mean, I think Pickens, like, probably when you got him, you were like, oh, he'll be good for like a few more weeks or something. But he's been great, and he hasn't he's had a ton of touchdowns overturned and long plays overturned. So
that's true. He's right in the. Yeah.
Could be better. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Sorry to interrupt you. I didn't mean to.
No, that was it. I was done.
Oh, okay.
That was a great pickup, Phil. I think he's been.
Well, thank you. I'm surprised he went for $0. I thought someone would have thrown $1 on him, but I was happy to have him join the team. Same with Chuba and Jacoby Myers, all for 0. Which I mean, I guess people are, don't want to spend, but
yeah, they don't. You're higher up on the waiver order.
That's why I feel like I'm fine with 0. Like, I've got 3 good players here for $0 for nothing. So,
and I will also say that, like, and we talked about this a while ago, like, you had that core of like Bajan, Nico, you had Tyreek, obviously, and Lamar, like, you had like a bunch of end game players, and so I think you were like always set up well with that core. And then just like you've managed to survive, and now as like good players go back to waivers, like you can get guys with good matchups. Like I think you picked up Chuba against the Giants, like Tracy, I think you had. But anyway, there's guys with like good matchups out there that you can just Rashad White, like you can just grab them and drop them in, and like can bank on like 10 or 12 realistically. And if you have like the studs that you have, like Lamar, you don't need much more than that. So.
I agree. Some plug and plays. Yeah, I got lucky with Tracy. I picked up Tracy originally before he even played at all. When I had no running back, all I had was Bijan, and I had no one else. And then it was like, oh, Devin Singletary's questionable, and then I was like, oh, Tracy's a backup. I'll pick him up just in case. And then he turned out to be really good. So it's that's worked out well.
They worked out for you, yeah.
Really did. Best case scenario. Not for Singletary, but for me and Tracy, it's been good.
All right.
Yeah.
That is a great synopsis, Ryan, of Phil's team this year. Coming off the auto draft too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess can't give Phil.
Okay. Yeah. Huh? What?
I was gonna say I can't give you a ton of credit for like drafting well, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all about managing after the draft. The draft is only do you so much.
Shout out Phil for not trading Lamar Jackson, Nico Collins, and Tyreek Hill.
Phil was talking earlier about
thinking
about trading Nico when he was hurt, but he's glad he didn't.
And Tyreek hasn't been great either, but that DJ Moore, he's kind of been
DJ
fun.
Moore is a bum. Although they
Get him
did,
outta here.
I heard they just fired their offensive coordinator earlier
Could
today.
be good
I think
news
so.
for DJ Moore.
Could be good. Could be good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna need to see it first, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's been bad. Yeah, he's been bad.
So we got Ryan predicting Jake, Phil predicting Johnny. James, who do you got?
I feel like I'm gonna have to go with Jake too. I mean, I don't feel like Javonte Williams or Jake Ferguson are gonna be able to do much for him. I think.
Yeah, if he's starting Javante, that's really a problem.
Like we were talking about earlier, I feel like the Buffalo defense. I don't know. Obviously, yeah, Mahomes has been throwing picks all year, but I feel like this could just sort of be that like classic Bills Chiefs game where he sort of turns it on a little bit, and tightens it up. So yeah, his team just doesn't look great, and it'll also be interesting because we'll know like it'll be sort of clear what his team's going to do after tonight because of
Very
AJ
much.
Brown and Herbert, or like so like anybody else who's sort of feeling iffy about their team could sort of feel a lot more confident after tonight if either of those guys don't have huge games.
Completely right. I would say if he only walks away from tonight with, I want to say 30, 35, like that's not enough for him to feel that good. Because those guys have been scoring combined much more than that every week. So, good point. I also think Ferguson's going to have a terrible week. Like, I don't know why he's still rolling with him. I think Laporta's just sitting out there. There's very serviceable guys out there.
He's not checking. That's why he's rolling with Ferguson.
Very true.
I'm going Huff. I'm changing to Huff. I was just doing a little more. I was looking at the teams a little more. I'm changing to Huff. Sorry.
Okay, so we got one Huff and two Jakes. What's your reason, Phil, for Huff?
Adams, Kittle, and Hill are all questionable. This has Devontae Adams. Well, yeah. I mean, questionable, but even if they still play, they're a little banged up, and
he doesn't have a quarterback yet.
The Jets are terrible, and he has no quarterback still. I assume he'll pick one up, but he also has Eckler tonight, and if for some reason
he's not starting him though. Right,
but for some reason, if Hill doesn't play because he's questionable, then he has. Whatever. I'm going with Huff. That's what my gut's telling me.
Okay. I don't hate it, actually, because Hill can put up a dud. Adams can put up a dud. London's got Denver. Tough matchup. Doesn't have a quarterback yet, but whoever he plugs in is probably fine. I don't hate it. I thought about him. But I've got James this week.
No.
Oh,
He's
no.
drinking an Arnold Palmer. James, you're drinking an Arnold Palmer.
It's okay. I don't think Eric's ever been right, so it's probably a good thing.
Oh, that's good luck then, James. You're
good.
Thanks, guys.
James, you're just rolling with Ryan. You're just copying Ryan's pick because Ryan's been right.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing.
But to be honest, Jake, absolutely, I had to decide between Jake and James for who to predict, and I thought James is a little more of a hot take than Jake. Although I think they both are my top two predictions this week to get eliminated. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah. James has what do you don't have anyone tonight, so but you do have CeeDee Lamb on Monday. Actually I didn't realize that because that'll be huge.
That'll be big
because you'll need it from him probably. So
yeah, we'll see.
We will see. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Any of you guys have anything else you want to say?
I'm sad I missed this week. I had fun with this, but I can't wait to chime in the comments when I listen to Eric's slander.
Ryan, I could have put you down here, but I didn't want to.
No,
if I put you here, then I know you're not going to get eliminated, so I didn't want to put you here.
It's fair. I mean, Tank Dell and Josh Downs are tough to be rolling out there as wide receivers 1 and 2 at this point in the year. So I get it, but we're rolling with our guys.
You are.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Thanks, Phil.
All
right, team.
Guys.
Another one in the books.
Another one. Don't get eliminated, as always.
Nice.
I'll do my best.
Good advice.